I am Joel Richardson, and this is The Underground. Welcome to this episode of The Underground, a program that explores the testimony of the biblical prophets, the gospel of Jesus Christ, current events, and how all of these things relate to you and me. Now, on this episode, I'm going to be very brief. As you can see, I'm not in the studio, not in the underground, actually sitting in my office, and I'm about to take off, actually heading to Israel for the week. But I did want to get this out there. I know many of you have been sending me emails and asking about some articles that you've seen online the past few days. The first one, I believe, appeared on a site called Express. It's a British outfit, just called Express, home of the Daily and Sunday Express. And the headline here is, it says, Holy Site, where God gave Moses 10 commandments to be bulldozed for Saudi megacity. Okay, so if you just look at this headline, the claim is essentially that the Saudis, in order to build Neom, this slated megacity project that they have talked about now for the past year or so, to be built up there in the Tabuk province around the area of Jebel al-Lawz, which we believe is the real Mount Sinai. The claim, just based on the headline, is that they're going to actually bulldoze Mount Sinai. Now, first of all, this is classic clickbait, because if you actually read the article, there's no statements that they're going to bulldoze the mountain. But this is what happens with sort of clickbait, fake news, and this sort of thing. People just look at the headline and they assume that that's what the actual article says. It doesn't actually say that. So let me just back up and say, how did the story get started? Well, first of all, I know many of you have seen the film made by Ryan Morrow called Mount Sinai Discovered in Saudi Arabia. He's put the video out. It's been about a month or so now, getting close to 500,000 hits. It's fantastic. It's about a 24-minute film. If you haven't seen it yet, go on YouTube. You can find it. It's free for anyone to watch. It's an excellent film. But in the film, Ryan expresses concern that in the process of building Neom, again, which surrounds the real Mount Sinai, he expresses concerns that some areas which have yet to be explored, that archaeologists have yet to really search through, will be damaged, or that even sort of just the sense that you get when you're there at Jebel al-Lawz, at the real Mount Sinai, of it being the original Mount Sinai, that it will sort of, the views, that there'll be places that will be developed in the area. So he expresses concerns about this, and so then these sensationalist, news outlets online, they sort of make these clickbait headlines and talk about, the mountain being bulldozed. Listen, I just want to say there are absolutely no plans to bulldoze the mountain. No one's talking about this. Now, Ryan's concerns about various areas being potentially damaged or developed, this is a legitimate concern. The whole area, large sections of Saudi Arabia have profound history. And so just like the state of Israel, that's just filled with so much biblical history, it's so essential that the Saudis are very, very cautious in terms of the places that they develop, where they build, that they don't just come in and, sort of bulldoze things and make buildings and this sort of thing. But that said, there's absolutely nothing. There's no reason to believe that the Saudis are going to do this. Let me just say this. Over the years, a lot of people have talked about, well, the Saudis put up these fences around Jebel al-Lawz because they're trying to hide the fact that this is the real Mount Sinai. They don't want people to know biblical truth and all this sort of thing. And that's actually nonsense. That's just sort of, it's just ignorance spoken, assuming the Saudis have all these malevolent intentions. Listen, if I were the Saudis, I would put fences up as well, because this is what you should do if you're protecting the mountain. And it makes sense that they don't want just all these random American and global visitors sneaking into the country and exploring and potentially damaging the these very important archaeological sites. You know, the Split Rock, you can actually see, I've just got a picture there on the wall. The Split Rock, someone went there several years ago and actually sort of sledgehammered a corner of it off. Apparently they were looking for gold or something like this. So, you know, it's important to protect these sites from just these random people that are going to show up with weird ideas. And so the Saudis have been very good over the past, you know, since Ron Wyatt visited it and since they became aware of the fact that this is the real mountain. They've done a very good job of protecting the mountain. Now, as I said, although the fences were put up years ago, today large sections of the fence have been knocked over and this sort of thing. And the mountain's really not all that guarded. But that said, with the development of Neom, and this is important, listen, Neom, if you look at it, they say it's 33 times larger than New York City. If you look at a map of the area that they're talking about developing, it's actually about the size of the entire state of Israel. Okay, so if you've been to Israel, you understand Israel's not the largest country in the world, but you know, there's a lot of area. And Jabal al-Lawz is way out there, really in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's, you know, when you turn off the paved road, you're going to drive another hour or so before you get to it, at least from memory. I mean, it's about an hour and 45 minutes, hour 50 minutes or so from the Tabuk airport. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. So they're not planning on just putting up these giant buildings around the mountain. You're not dealing with just like this real small area. There's plenty of space for the Saudis to protect the whole area around Mount Sinai. And I guarantee you there's going to be all kinds of discoveries over the next 10 years. There's going to be all kinds of discoveries. And there already have been tremendous discoveries. And I think many of these will be brought out by the Saudi archaeological authorities as they sort of expand some of their findings. I think as they open this up, there's going to be a lot of things that they've found over the years that they've tucked away. But now is the time to bring these things forward. And they're going to bring forth different experts that have recognized that this is the real mountain. And they've done a good job of preserving and protect it. And I have every confidence that they will continue to do so in the future. Now listen, this is going to be a tremendous source of revenue for the Saudis. Why would they want to destroy it? Last year, Israel, as an example, they had 2 million tourists as visitors coming to Israel. 68% of them were Christians. Once this becomes clear, which it will, that this is the real Mount Sinai, let's just say the Saudis had, I'm not good at doing math off the top of my head, but let's just say they had 10% of what Israel has. Let's just say that within a few years they had 200,000 tourists coming to Saudi Arabia every year. And let's say of those 200,000 they spent, let's just say $3,000. I mean, you're dealing with, what is this, $600 million? Or would that be $6 billion? I mean, the point is this, the revenue that the tourists will bring in, it will be in the billions. And eventually it will become more than 200,000. And the amount of revenue, if we're just talking just from a business perspective, that the Saudis will make from tourism over this issue, it would be foolish for them to bulldoze it. So let's just avoid the clickbait. Let's avoid all of the sensationalist articles out there. And let's be realistic. It is in the Saudis' interest financially as well as religiously. Because listen, within the Quran, you actually have some of the retelling of the stories that are in the Bible. Of Moses. They're sort of abbreviated, short versions, but it talks about Moses. It talks about Mount Sinai. Again, briefly, it talks about the giving of the law. And so the Saudis know that this is where it took place. They know it was in this whole area of the Arabian Peninsula. They know there's all kinds of archaeological evidence of the history of the people of God in this area. And it's in their benefit both religiously and financially to protect, preserve, and to draw these things out. Now, let me say this as well. There's also a lot of, now look, within the world of religion, Bible prophecy, conspiracy theories, there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there. And one of the things that you'll find commonly on the internet is this claim, and this is often perpetuated by Muslims that are concerned, by Christian Zionists and sort of a lot of these conspiracy theories. This idea that the Israelis want to take over this part of Saudi Arabia. Again, that's complete nonsense. Israel has no interest in taking over any part of Saudi Arabia. Oftentimes, these different articles or these different references that those who perpetuate these conspiracy theories, the information that they get, oftentimes it's just some sort of weird conspiracy theory, or this weird Christian, somebody that posts something, on the fringe of the internet, posting some map, Greater Israel, and it looks like Israel wants to occupy all of Iraq and Lebanon and Jordan and Saudi Arabia. Israel has no interest in conquering and taking over the Middle East. That's absolutely ridiculous. All they want to do is live on their little piece of land with security. They have no interest in occupying it's already enough work that they have to deal with their security situation with the West Bank and so forth. They don't want to take over Jordan. So you'll see Christians that will make references to, Israel's going to conquer the whole Middle East, and they'll try to use the Bible or Bible prophecy to perpetuate this. And then you'll get some, again, sort of paranoid Muslim who's looking at some of their articles and assuming that these fringe folks represent mainstream Christianity, but it doesn't. Okay, Christianity is as different as Islam is different. We have all kinds of different sects and different ideas and fringe weird little groups, and we don't need to pay attention to the fringe folks. Level-headed parties are going to win out here. The Saudis have every intention of preserving and protecting and opening up this mountain to the world. I believe that will be soon. They've done an excellent job in the past. They will continue to be responsible in the future. I do look forward to seeing some of those that have had a passion for this mountain to connect with some of those, the authorities that are in charge of developing these areas and consulting and making sure that this becomes a situation that is beneficial for all visitors. And again, preserving, protecting this very important piece of sacred religious history. So that said, avoid the clickbait. Avoid the sensationalism, avoid the nonsense. The Saudis are not going to bulldoze Mount Sinai, and it's not fair to them to entertain these kind of sort of paranoid conspiracy theories. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, my new book, Mount Sinai in Arabia, is now available. So if you don't have a copy yet, go to my website, click on the store, and you can get a signed copy. You can actually get a copy, I believe, before it's even available on Amazon, or it might be available on Amazon, but you can get a signed copy. It benefits my ministry more so, obviously, if you buy it directly through my store. And we're also going to have some bundles and some specials here in the next day or so. You can also get with the book at a discounted rate. You can get either the 9-class DVD or the 9-class flash drive, which covers all of the material in the book. So if you're more of a video guy, you can get that in various formats. And I also have a bundle where I'm offering a new coin that I've minted. This is something special, and it's actually a coin that on one side, it actually has a picture of the split rock and a reference from 1 Corinthians where Paul says that the rock itself represents Christ. And then on the other side is my ministry logo, Joel Richardson Ministries, and a reference to one of my favorite Bible verses. So this is to commemorate the fact that this very well may be the year where Mount Sinai is finally opened up to the world. And so I had this idea. I thought it was really neat. It would be neat to sort of mint this special coin. So you can get one of these coins with the new book, Mount Sinai in Arabia. Or if you want, you can just buy one of the coins all by itself. And what I'm also doing is for anyone who becomes a regular supporter, if you would like, what I'll do is you just send me an email at joelstrumpet.com, and I'll actually send you 2 of these coins. So anyone who becomes a regular supporter, just send me an email and say, hey, I really would love 2 of those coins. Give me your address, and I'll have my warehouse send 2 of the coins out to you. And what you can do with them, by the way, is, and I know it would be wonderful if I did this, I just don't have time to sit here, and is you go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something, just get yourself a little window box, just sort of, I think it's called just like a little frame, and it's, with a black matting, and you just glue the coin one side facing, the heads and tails onto that sort of black mat and hang it up as a nice little piece. I've actually got something similar here in my office. So with that said, I just wanted to get this out there. Again, I'm on my way to Israel, so I'll be sort of out of town for a week, but I wanted to get this out there. And just sort of, again, just caution everyone, avoid the sensationalism, avoid the clickbait. the mountain is going to be opened this year. So, amen. Thanks for being with us. Look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, I'm Joel Richardson, and this is The Underground.